There we go. Hey there, everyone. Good morning. Happy Aloha Monday, and welcome to another session of our Noodles and Hangout. My name is Neal Chin, and I'll be hanging out with you folks all the way to the top of the hour, maybe a little bit after that too. We'll see. uh, Sorry about that. I was running a little late this morning. Because let's see, we gotta pull out the Rolodex of excuses. No, I'm just kidding. No, just running a little late this morning. And actually, here, one sec. Okay. Cables, you know. The ever battle of cables. Alrighty, I think we're ready to get going now. Thank you all for being patient and whatnot. And I know I just posted the link up on Facebook. So, welcome. Welcome to another Monday morning here. Really excited today. We're going to be talking a little bit about turnarounds. I actually got a request to talk a little bit about the 8-bar blues as well. And, yeah. And then, of course, I just figured play some tunes today since I'm working on some new stuff. So, thought I'd share with you a new arrangement. So, let's get going. Actually, you know what? I lied. Let's start off here today. Just a kid with a bunch of his toys. Hey, good morning, Todd. Good morning. Uncle Keith, how's it going? Good morning. Traffic rough. Oh, yeah, the traffic was super rough today. I have to go from that side of the curtain to this side. But intentionally not Donald ducking it either, so that's for everybody's else benefits. Everybody else's benefit. There we go. Okay. So I decided to take out some of the old ukuleles again. So this is actually my first Koaloha that I ever started playing in 2008. I want to say 2009. And I absolutely love this fella. It's got the baritone strings on it. So but it's re-entrant, so it's with a high D. So D, G, B, E. So it's kind of like the perfect marriage between an ukulele and a guitar. And it's kind of nice for people like me who play in the same key often. Because now I can play in the key of F and still be in the key of C. Or if not, get a little bit more of a mellower sound, so. Let's do this. Oh, that was kind of fun. Just kind of got a little lost there in those chords. I might as well make this a little friendly PSA to you ukulele players out there, because this is a good a good moment of humbling for myself. And so I thought I'd share it with you. But you know, we spend so much time playing on high G or low G, or kind of what our comforts are, yeah? And so for me, I mean, definitely playing on like a low G tenor ukulele is where I feel most comfortable on all instruments, you know, whether it's guitar or whatever, piano, or whatever the case is. But even like a small alteration like this, by just changing the G string up here to a high G, or in this case a high D, it's kind of nice. Just to like, yeah, you know, kind of hear those chord voices a little bit differently. Like I always try to grab that, you know, that G9. But definitely with the B on the third, you know, kind of on the top here, I expect it to be in the bass, and it sounds really nice at the re-entrant, especially you can kind of let it go. Get that sus2 sound. Not sus2, but kind of sussy. There we go. So, real harp-like too. So fun. Anyway, look for little ways to, you know, to invigorate you to kind of think a little bit differently on your instrument. And if it's just changing your strings, or I don't know, play them upside down. I don't know. Do you? All right. Let's do one more. Okay. Let's do this. We'll do this song again. I know I play this one a lot, but it's a fun one, and I really like playing it on a baritone like this. Yeah, we'll do a little hapa-hali music for you folks in your own Hawaiian way. They say that the moon will shine down upon you when they say in your Hawaiian way that I love you too. The stars are tonight will shine down on you bright when they say in your Hawaiian way that I love you too. As the trade winds, they gently blow your hair, I can feel each moment that we share. But tonight belongs to you and I, when they say in your Hawaiian way that I love you too. As the trade winds gently blow your hair, I can feel each moment that we share. But tonight belongs to you and I, when they say in your Hawaiian way that I love you too. 'Cause when they say in your Hawaiian way that I love you too. Oh, I love that song. Yeah, That's a fun one. That's a fun one in your own Hawaiian way. Yeah. Actually, my friend Kamarillo reached out to me. I posted that on my Instagram story. I was just jamming one night, and he actually had mentioned that it was his uncle that wrote that song from the group Nalu. And his uncle being, of course, Mr. Rupert Tripp, which is, he's an icon in Hawaiian music, and I feel like in music in general, in my opinion. But little piece of information there in your own Hawaiian way from Nalu. Alrighty, so I did just see more than a handful of comments here. I'm just taking a quick peek. Nice way to play another key now. It's like it's like Irving Berlin's piano, in which the entire hammer mechanism moved by a half step up. Oh, and down the string, so you only had to play in C. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a really interesting little thing there. Really cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, Todd. I love little musical nuggets like that. That's awesome. Hey, RS, thanks for tuning in. Mr. Maximo, lost in the sauce. Marinara? No. Okay. Hey, Tanya, how's it going? Good morning. Good morning. High G is where it's at. Yeah. You know, I started playing on high G, and it really is an unmistakable ukulele sound when you play that, you know. And yeah, the possibilities when you listen to people like John King, and of course, I mean, you know, a lot of the other greats as well, but I mean, you listen to someone like maybe like John King and whatnot that really utilize that high G to its maximum potential. Oh, it's just too good. It's just too good. Oh, we missed Don Yoder. Oh, singing the start of the... Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I learned so many great songs from Don. That was one of the things that I used to love, really coming to the kind of Kapila sessions. Like, you know, the one that I always think of is, some of you might be familiar with the tune, Model T. And I know he used to play that one a lot. And we miss you a lot. We miss you a lot, Don. Every day, every day. Oh, it's got that A flat 7 in there. It's so cool, so cool. All right. Yep. That's the one, Mom. We started doing that one last week, right? So we'll finish it up this upcoming week for sure, for sure. Hey, we got Ashley Orlando in the house as well. Hey, I'm glad you like the new venue. I'll tell the maintenance staff. I think they've been working hard on it, so. All right. Alrighty, so let's jump into today's topic here. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about turnarounds, and again, you know, by request, we're going to talk just real briefly about the 8-bar blues. It's another form of the blues that's magnificent to take a look at. There's lots of great songs written in that form. And then after that, we'll see how much time is left and maybe play some tunes. I got a couple new arrangements that I've been working on these past couple of weeks. So I thought I would share, maybe if I'm feeling brave, we'll see at least, share some of these new arrangements here at the end of the session. So let's jump into it. So first things first. So we've been talking about the blues, right, for these past like handful of sessions. You know, last week we kind of really, you know, dug into the harmonic structure of like jazz blues and how to use that. You know, we looked a little bit about the session before that, I guess, was a little more just like a Q&A and kind of like just some thoughts about the blues and yada, yada, yada. So we're going to enter from that perspective because we're going to kind of use this turnaround concept as a way to pivot subjects as well. Because the thing I like is that the things like the blues and whatnot, I mean, of course, studying it within its own right and its own genre, you can spend the rest of your life doing that and still have something to uncover, you know? So, you know, there's always that. But of course, you know, there's other things to talk about as well. And there's lots of other great music in the world. So we're going to kind of use this concept of turnarounds as a pivoting point to go to other genres of music. Now, I want to do this too because, you know, talking about turnarounds, oftentimes what I hear and what the consensus that I feel from people is that, you know, it's kind of like a strict passage of some sort that gets played at, you know, X time or whatever the case is, just because. And, you know, you're not necessarily wrong because, like, you know, if you were to say in something like the blues, you know, let's say at the end of the 12-bar blues that we're going to throw a turnaround there, you know, that would be the point in which we would do so. But what I kind of like is, of course, to take these concepts and then to maybe take a step forward or a step backwards, depending how you want to look at it, or maybe both. It's good to do too. And just really kind of look at what it at its core elements. What is a turnaround, right? So let's talk about that. So a turnaround, effectively, right, is like a small musical passage of some sort that will take you back to another section of the song, right? Hence, turn around. Some people call it just like the turn and whatnot too, but just to be thorough, we'll call it, of course, our turnaround. So we've heard a lot of these in different genres of music. Today we're going to be looking at three kind of common ones. We're going to be looking at one first, of course, in the blues. Then we're going to look at a typical jazz turnaround. And then, of course, you know, just from my personal upbringing and whatnot and, you know, my love for it, we're going to do some Hawaiian too. And turnarounds are real big, that's why, in Hawaiian music. So I'm going to talk about that too. So, since at its concept, a turnaround is to take you back to another section of the song, right? Usually the beginning or the top of a form or, you know, something like that. What I would really kind of distill it down to, again, is maybe even just something like the chord changes, yeah? Because if you're trying to get back to the beginning, you know, one of the strongest tools, you know, that we've definitely talked about here, particularly with the last session, is, you know, we can do something like a 2-5, you know, going to our respective spot, the 1. Or we could even just play a 5, too. That's going to be really common, and really that's going to be what we're talking about today, because that 5 chord is such an important element in creating motion when we play music, at least especially with these genres of music. And so what we want to do here is utilize that 5 to its maximum potential, because just by placing it in the right spot, so to say, you know, it kind of does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So, you know, like when we did the blues, you know, if we're doing kind of the last 4 measures of the blues, we might go like, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Back to the beginning, right? Cause you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Big turn. And we go back to the top of the form, or another way to look at it, of course, is the next verse of the song. So, now in that spot there, right, we can do different like little licks and riffs and things like that, and things that are common to the genre. So in that spot, instead of, you know, just playing those notes, we're gonna kind of do a little lick, a little riff that points us to the 5 chord. So real quickly, and a small digression, one thing, you know, that I would say also works too, you know, in a very kind of not plain, but, you know, in a readily available way, because what we can do is just really approach that 5 chord. Yeah. And what's nice about that is that it's just strumming, right? And so it's just going to be kind of an extension of what you're probably already doing. So if we're on like 1, or we're on that spot, excuse me, let's say the last 4 measures of the 12-bar blues, we might go 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I'm going to walk to the 5. Right? Take us over to the 1. And I would argue that that would be even a good enough thing to use as a turnaround, you know? But instead, let's do this, okay? I use this one a lot too, and this is, you know, a lot of it comes from my love for Mr. Robert Johnson. And it sounds like this. Okay. And get a little jazzy there with some of those approach chords and stuff like that. But the key element here that we're going to really look at is this. Now, since we were talking about low G, high G earlier today, this one definitely will sound more like how it exists in the wild, so to say, if we're playing on a low G ukulele. This riff is definitely directly ripped off from a guitar, because it works so elegantly and nicely. But of course, you know, if this fingering, you know, or if you're playing on a high G and want to work at it in a different way, I encourage you to do so, because you definitely can. It'll be just maybe a change in fingering and whatnot, but it's definitely possible. So, but in the meantime, we can do it like this. What's kind of nice is we're going to pedal the note F, which is going to be the key in which we're in. We're playing a blues in F here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this note that's happening on the G string here. In this case, it's a E flat. And all we're going to do is we're going to walk that note down to C. And what's nice about this is I'm just going to pinch the two outside strings here. Just the two strings that we're fretting. And as soon as you reach that note C on the 5th fret, then you're home free. Yeah, so just like that. Yeah, the F kind of pedals out again the key that we're in, and as we move down, yeah, just moving that basically down to the 5th, to kind of down to that C-ish. Yeah, to turn ourselves around and go back to the beginning of the song. So to put it in motion here, right? So if we're kind of taking it from a little bit earlier, the last 4 measures there. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and right on the F. Yeah, and what's nice about that is that you still have a little bit of time there. We still have that 5 chord that's ending, right? And this kind of implies that a little bit with that C on the low end. But one of the things that you notice that I did, you might have noticed at least, is I just put an extra little 5 chord there, a little extra C7 for an accent. And I just like doing that too. And I encourage you to try it out. So you might do something again like this, right? So, right, or approach it. Get a little sassy, yeah? But yeah, and then use that again as a turnaround for a blues in the key of F. And again, the concept there is it works towards the 5, because the 5 does the work for us. If we can conceptually work up towards the 5, it'll do the work for us. Okay? So, number 1, okay? Blues turnaround there. And of course, there's others. There's others too that we will dig into later on. Alrighty, if you have any questions on the blues turnaround, go ahead and leave that in the chat or send me a message. We can definitely clear that up for you. But before we move on to the next couple of turnarounds that we're going to talk about today, I want to take a moment to talk about the 8-bar blues. Someone had reached out, I think it was you, Jim, that reached out that was talking about that. And you were saying it doesn't get a lot of love, and I agree with you. There's a lot of great songs that use the 8-bar blues too. So it's definitely worth checking out. And what I like about the 8-bar blues too is you can really kind of track its lineage as the chord progression as well, and apply it for the concepts that we learn, you know, maybe specifically for the blues and to other things, because we see this chord progression kind of exist in jazz all the time, but just maybe ornamented a little bit differently. Yeah. So let's take a look. Basically, with an 8-bar blues, the idea is that, you know, within 8 measures there, we're going to feel the whole form of the song. And the example that I always like to use for 8-bar blues is the Howlin' Wolf song, Sittin' on Top of the World. It's a fantastic song. And if you haven't ever listened to Howlin' Wolf before, do yourself the favor and go tune into Howlin' Wolf after the stream is done. Yeah, that poor man destroyed his voice, but excellent recordings. I digress. So how this works instead, I'm just going to play it for you once. Yeah, and then I just want you to kind of follow along. And, you know, maybe for extra practice here, too, just to really embrace it, what I want you to do is see if you can identify the chords that I'm playing. Now, if that seems like a lot to do, right, what I would just do in times like this is just count. Yeah, just count, right? And see if you can follow along and see if you can feel those 8 bars there. So let's check it out. Oh, nice, Ashley. That's awesome. We're looking forward to hearing it. Awesome. Okay, so 8-bar blues, yeah? We might go like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. something like that. Right? And then we can kind of repeat that, of course. And, you know, one of the things, of course, that's always good to remember is that usually towards the end of the form, when we get towards the turnaround, this is where there's a lot of alterations and whatnot that can happen. And really will depend oftentimes on the melody, and maybe even more, a better way to put that is it will depend on the composer. So yeah, I might go like, I don't know if I can do it in that. One summer day. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah. One summer day, she went away. She gone and left me. She gonna stay. But now that she's gone, well, I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. So conceptually, it's really nice too, because really it's just you can use a lot of the same stuff that we talked about in the jazz blues and apply it to here, you know. So yeah, a little shorter version of the form, or that you can use. 8-bar blues. Check it out. Check it out. Alrighty. So quick little snippet on the 8-bar blues there, and yeah, let's continue on with our turnaround, shall we? So again, right, as anything that we can do to take us back to the beginning. And since, you know, we'll try to use all these examples over here in the key of F, yeah, because what we can really rely on through all of these is that we're going to be using C dominant 7th or C7 over here to take us back to the 1, right? And so now let's move into the world of jazz. Okay, let's say that we just finished playing, you know, a 32-bar song, whatnot, you know, night and day or whatever the case is. And we're reaching the end of the tune. And it's time for us to take it back to the top, and we're going to start tossing around solos to our friends and whatnot. And we need to figure out a way to take it back. And again, playing a C7 will work just fine, you know. Or see, like, let's say we're doing like Foggy Day, right? So, at the foggy London town, the sun was shining everywhere. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's more than enough to take us back to the top. But what I would recommend doing is using some chords here, right? So, you know, we've definitely talked about that 1, 6, 2, 5 here, and we can definitely use that perfectly as our turnaround here, which I think would work nicely. So we could do maybe something like F, D7, G minor 7, and C7, yeah? And again, right, as long as we have that C7 in place, right, we can even be a little colorful with some of the chords on the inside. So already, you know, changing them diatonically, we can go F, and I already did D7, right, which kind of adds that F sharp, making it a little interesting sounding. Okay, then a G minor 7, but of course we can use G dominant 7 for the 50505 thing. You go to C7. Or, of course, a combination of the two, right? And what's nice about that is that not only are we going to play each one of those chords, 1, 6, 2, 5, yeah, but we're going to play them actually faster, yeah, or we're going to change at a quicker rate. So, you know, let's say that, you know, we're playing a song that, you know, has, you know, maybe a measure on each chord, right? So the end of the tune might be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 'cause I love you, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, and then back to the top. But when we change a little bit faster, and what we do is we change and start that turnaround right on the resolution, just like the blues, yeah? What happens is the momentum of the song never stops, you know? And it's kind of nice because oftentimes, you know, I mean, a song is, especially with standards and whatnot, you know, they're engineered, they're written, you know, for us to, generally speaking, to feel some kind of conclusion at the end, you know? It's just good writing, right? If you're writing a story, you want there to be some kind of resolution at the end. Not saying it has to be a clean resolution, but there's some resolution. And in the event that we want to, of course, extend the form, right, and have, you know, played more and more, definitely keeping the momentum of the rhythm moving is really important. So, again, now coming back here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly put in that 1, 6, 2, 5 as chords there, right, immediately as the song resolves, right? So we'll do our fake song here. I can't think of a tune right now, but if it's like G minor 7 right now. 'Cause I love you. And take us back to the beginning. And it's kind of nice because with that rapid change, it might catch our ear a little bit off guard, you know, especially if we've been kind of acquainted now with the other speed that we've been playing at. And so, yeah, that shift in movement is nice. Now, what I'm going to do really quick just for a moment here is I'm just going to just loop around this 1625 and just show you just a couple variations, because I think this is a fantastic place to look for those variations. So, yeah, I had mentioned a couple in the past, but I'll just flop through a couple. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 'Cause I love you. Okay. Number 2. 'Cause I love you. Be augmented at the end. Okay. So that 1625 works great as a way to turn the song around for jazz tunes and jazz standards. And of course, you know, with everything that we're talking about today, you know, I'm speaking on behalf of kind of particular genres here, because these are, you know, where they naturally exist, or typically exist. Let me put it that way. That's a better way to phrase it. But of course, you can do it in any song that you want to do. You know, please feel free to change it around. Like, for example, I like to often use a lot of these jazz turnarounds when playing hapa haole music, or, you know, kind of like Hawaiian music sung with English lyrics, and usually done with kind of like a bit of a swing rhythm and whatnot. And because of course, there's a lot of the same elements, yeah, that cross over with hapa haole music and, you know, kind of swing and jazz standards in general. So it's a great way to bridge the gap between maybe two genres. So we will use that as an excellent segue there to talk about our last turnaround today, a turnaround for Hawaiian music. So, of course, if you have any quick questions on any of that quick jazz turnaround, you know, please feel free to leave it in the comments. But okay, so last but not least, we have our Hawaiian turnaround over here, and same concept, same concept, right? It's using the 5 chord to take us back to the beginning. And, you know, one of the other usages for turnarounds as well, right, is to just kind of like vamp a little bit, or to just like play a musical phrase, so to say, and oftentimes to fill space. So this might be like we might vamp, so to say, if the example I always like to use just because it's fun is like, let's say that we're the band here and the singer is still getting ready in the back room. But the downbeat's already going, right? The show's already started, and we have to hang out. Toss and solos and stuff like that are good, but let's just say that we know that that individual, that singer, is just running just a couple minutes late, and so we just have to hang out just for a moment. What we could do is maybe vamp on a turnaround, because it just kind of holds the suspense of the song, because it makes us want to hear the beginning, yeah, without ever really delivering it, which is kind of nice. And so we might do something, you know, again, in the jazz big band kind of way, we might do something like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the same thing, right? And I can keep that same rhythm too, right? So 2 apiece. Ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Today we bring you live at Carnegie Hall. The dude. He's got the dude. Quincy Jones. All right. But you get the idea, yeah? So we can just kind of hold the song in place and as we hang out, yeah? Just on those chords, or vamp on those chords. So I wanted to bring that up because, especially for you lovers of Hawaiian music out there, I'm sure you're familiar with the term, the vamp. It's usually when we talk about kanikapilas and whatnot and say, hey, we're going to start the song. You know, let's play Hanalei Moon, yeah? Let's start the song off, but we're going to have to use a vamp in the beginning, yeah? Which would be something like this. Yeah? And I really like like it, especially for kanikapilas, right? Because you got like a big room full of people. It's a great way to get everyone, right, like on the same page, and in some cases literally. Right? And we can just hang out like this. Okay. The other thing too, especially with Hawaiian music, is that this vamp will get oftentimes placed in between sections of songs, right? Kind of like think of it as a way to break up the stanzas in a poem, right? So you think to take a song like Ulupalakua, after each verse, yeah, we throw in that. Or, you know, even singing something like Hawaii Aloha, yeah? That's how we're going to start the song off. Every time I hear this vamp in the key of F, I always think of Hawaii Aloha. Yeah, etc., right? So that being said, right, with Hawaiian music having so many of these turnarounds or so many of these vamps, you know, in place, you know, one of the things that's really fun to look for different variations. And of course to, you know, you can definitely seek this too from a lot of the masters as well who are still playing out there of different turnarounds and different ways to play that vamp, you know, because on top of those chords, which is, you know, might I add in the key of F here, this is going to be the one that we'll probably see really often, would be G dominant 7th or our 2 dominant 7th, C7, this is our good old friend the 5 chord again, and just going back over to F, where we do feel a sense of resolution, or a 2, 5, 1, right? So, yeah. And again, we can see that lineage there, which is really cool, you know? Or where these two cultures intersect, which is really nice. That's a better way to put it. But, so on top of that, right, you probably have heard things like the, you know? Yeah. And these are, if you play Hawaiian music, I would highly recommend having more than a handful of these in your back pocket there, and meaning that you should just practice them because they're so much fun. When you're like playing in a group and you're singing and whatnot, and then, you know, comes the break or whatever, or comes the vamp that's in between, that you can throw that little, you know, turnaround fill in there, and it sounds really, really nice. So I highly recommend for you Hawaiian music lovers out there to practice your vamps, yeah? So, let's take a look at this one. I love this one, absolutely love this one, because not only does it sound gorgeous, but it falls out of the fingers nicely, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. Actually, those are the main two reasons why. So it's in the key of F here, and might I add, definitely made for low G here. Definitely made for low G. I definitely stole this directly off of, you know, Urbota Jr.'s playing. Definitely have seen him do this more than a handful of times. And it just sounds gorgeous. Anyway, I just really like this turnaround, as you can see. So, all it is actually going to start off with that chord that I was talking about earlier in today's session, the G9. And it's just a little bit more of a decorated G7. That's a good way to think about it, at least. What it is, it's like if you make G7. But instead, what we're going to be doing for all of these chords is we're going to be releasing our A string. So we're not going to touch our A string as we go through this turnaround. And this A is going to provide a pedal note for us to move the other chords around it. So if you're on that, you just have 2 fingers now in place, which if you watch my hand, you can even see how much more room and space now I can use just by pivoting and rotating on the tips of my index and my middle finger here. So if I do that and I rotate a little bit to the right, look at my pinky can now reach up to the 4th fret. Okay. And there you have this lovely G9 chord. Great for low G, great for low G again. Yeah, but you can still use it for high G, just like I was doing earlier today. Okay. Now, I know getting that pinky up there can be a little tricky for some of y'all folks, you know, because of that stretch and whatnot. So a lot of it is the shift in the wrist, yeah, and watching your hand kind of move forward a little bit, opposed to, you know, kind of trying to pull back, yeah, which will require a little bit of support, you know, either coming from your thumb, a little leverage from pulling back in your arms as well, yeah. But be patient with yourself, yeah. The shape will come, yeah. We don't use our pinky too often, so yeah, just let your pinky relax, yeah, as it slowly makes its way up there. But one of the lovely things here is that after we do this first one, and let's do it like this. Just pull down the strings. Don't even think too much. Yeah, just go 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, let gravity do the work for you. Okay. After we have that, then we're going to go over to our C7 chord. And instead of playing C7 down here, we're going to play C7 up here. So what this is just my ring finger, my third finger on the 3rd fret. This is technically it's C13. Yeah. Again, think of it like a more decorated version of C7. But in this positioning, it works out really nicely because, again, if I just hold this one note down and pull down, how nice that sounds. You got those nice big open strings. And with the low G, we got that B flat down there that's just kind of really holding it together as a really colorful note. And it's descending from where it was before. Watch this. Here's my G9. Watch the pinky. It's on the 4th fret. Then I bring it down, my ring finger, look, already there, yeah? So you just bring your ring finger down. Right there. We watch that note go. And we go. Just like that. And then after that, just go home. Go home, Christ, yeah. No. You go after that, and you just go to F. Just good old-fashioned F. And if we do F, we get that note moving down yet again over one more half step down, to the note A. And gives us our resolution. So we have chord-wise, one more time. Yeah, we have that G9, we have that C13, then we go home to F. Okay. Now, just strum it, right? Sounds good already. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Sounds really nice if you stack it on top, our original. So it's a nice little variation just from that, right? We're just vamping on that 2-5-1, the Hawaiian turnaround right over there. And, just by changing, from the original position that, a lot of us play on already, going over to these new sets of chords just breathes new light into it. And, does a lot of the heavy lifting there with just changing your chord voices. But last but not least, what we're going to do here is, of course, we can pick these apart. In this case, quite literally. And by pulling down the strings like this and keeping it at a nice steady pace, so maybe we'll say we'll be about there. What's nice about this is we got a nice little melody line that can sit on top of those chords. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to strum our 2-5-1 here, just like as we normally would have it. And then I'm going to place that on top with the picking. And let's just hear what they sound like here. And all the while, you can rely on this fella to keep on going here. So keep that count moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Waikiki Show. There we go, right? And all that is, of course, finding the chord voices, getting that pinky up there is probably the trickiest part. But after that, it's just letting your thumb fall down the strings. Yeah, and you might want to change the inflection a little bit, play what's in your head, right? So, like for me, I just like to hear that F. So I just pick the note F. That's kind of nice and humble. Maybe add a little extra note if you want. But turn around in the key of F for Hawaiian music. I would try that one out. That G9, C13, and F. Alrighty, folks. Well, yeah, those were the 3 turnarounds I figured that we would talk about today. One in blues, one in jazz, and one in Hawaiian music. Of course, these are not limited to these genres, but just how they naturally and normally exist out there in the wild. So please feel free to see how they work with other styles of music. Of course, I encourage you, I mean, of course, hear it in the style that it typically is used in, of course, too. And yeah, see how they work out for you. I think turnarounds can be immensely fun to kind of investigate and store in for later because they're really practical and really useful. And for you songwriters out there too, it can be a really great tool as well, you know, because I mean, just functionally speaking, right? We can use that as just like a little piece, so to say, a little little block, if you will, to put in the right spot to take us back to a particular spot. So turnarounds, check it out. And you know, I was mentioning when we were briefly talking about turnarounds last time. You know, I brought up Lil Rev because he has that great book out with turnarounds and whatnot. And I know some people had left it in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and recommend that again. It's a fantastic book to check out for different turnarounds and whatnot, especially for a lot of this, what we're talking about, genres that we're talking about, blues and a little bit of jazz too. So Lil Rev, go check out his stuff for sure, for sure. All righty. Oh, yeah, Tanya, I feel you on that one. I definitely miss playing with friends as well. I almost made it out the other weekend, but I have to admit that I'm still a little sheepish myself, and this is, yeah, just me being maybe a little sheepish, I guess. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But one of these days soon, that's one of the things I miss the most. Sitting around in a circle and just singing and playing. It's just too good. I hope you're doing well. Yes, yeah, you got the idea, Ashley. You got the idea. Definitely, right? Somebody broke a reed somewhere, right? Let me do that. No. Hey. All right, so we just got a couple of minutes here, actually, before we kind of wrap up today's session. So let's play some tunes here. Just kind of mess around a little bit. Yeah, why not? Let's give it a go. Here. So, I don't know about all y'all folks, but, you know, I've been listening to music, basically, let me phrase this differently. I've been listening to any kind of music that makes me feel happy. Because, you know, it can be a little tough sometimes to balance everything that's happening out in the world, because there's a lot of difficult, intense things that are happening, and it's important to fill your cup too, so that you can enter the world with a full cup, you know. That's how I like to think of it. But anyway, all that for what I've been listening to is a lot of 90s R&B, because it's about the happiest, in my opinion, like picturesque, like totally cheesy but wonderful, like great music to listen to. And so one of the songs that one of my favorite songs in the world really is a song called Weak from SWV, BMW. Song called Weak. And it's just a real fun song. I think it's really well written, like songwriting wise, it's really nice. It is ridiculously wide for a range for vocals, which does make it a little bit challenging to arrange on ukulele a little bit, but I'm going to show you a little piece of it. It's just such a good song. Like the pre-chorus is perfect and just full of all these 2/5 stuff, and it's mostly diatonic too, so it's like not like too crazy chord wise, you know. But the melody is so great. You know, this is so pretty. So I'm gonna attempt it here. We'll just do a couple little sketches of it and let me know what you think. I know it's too good, yeah. Hey, Uncle Edsel in the house. How's it going, Uncle Edsel? Auntie Leslie, too. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, dude. Such a good song. It's such a good song. Great. I feel like I should be on roller skates and like or something. Anyway. Ice Palace, anybody? Ice Palace? Ice Palace? Nah, right. Oh, there we go. There we go. Something like that. Something like that. So, yeah, I got to do that. The next part too is the it's where it gets really interesting, and again, the range gets really big. So I got to work on those slides a little bit. But oh my goodness, it's such a fun little melody to play on an ukulele because of the width. Yeah, you have that. That's just like the best part of the song. I got that bass line. It's too good, too good, too good. I feel like if quarantine keeps going, I'm probably going to start arranging some Tamiya songs too. So Into You, you know, those songs are so good. But anyway. Gotta listen to music that fills your cup. Fills your cup. Alrighty. Yeah, you know, Max, I agree. I definitely agree there. That's the thing, is like those recordings, so like that recording, right? It's like all the fat has been trimmed from the recording. That's the term that I like to use because it's just like everything is perfectly in place and very intentional. And too sonically as well. Like it's kind of crazy because like I can listen to that thing on like a little, Bluetooth speaker and whatnot, you know. I can listen to it in my car, I can listen to it on monitors and whatnot, and it sounds good in each one. Like even with the monitors, like with my sub plugged in and everything, like it sounds fantastic. So, and yeah, the little things. So, just good engineering. Just good engineering. So. All right. Ooh, yeah, better wrap up here. Okay, we'll do one more quick song since I was running late there. This is something nice and easy here. It's definitely autumn. Oh yeah, there we go. It's definitely autumn here, and so go with it. All the great songs, right? This isn't particularly an autumn song, but we'll do a nice ballad just to kind of ease into the day here. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the kind of brief lesson there on turnarounds, learned something new, and if not, there's tons of the day left to go learn something new. And of course, too, I want to mention, with upcoming streams, I'm doing these every Monday. So if there's anything else that you folks want to talk about or, learn about or anything like that, please feel free to leave me a message or leave it in the comments right there. Definitely want to know what you folks are thinking of and what you folks want to learn. Because if not, I'm just teaching stuff that I want to talk about, which is cool, too. I definitely want to get on your guys' page, so... Oh, you know what? Let's do... Oh, I haven't done this one in a little bit. Let's do this. Oh, perfect. It's starting to freeze. Okay, good. All right, let's do a little If I Had You. Actually, wait. Yeah, it just kind of gets rolling. Speaking of the 8-bar blues that we talked about earlier today... In a lot of ways, this is very similar to that, yeah? Actually, I'll take a look real quick. So it has 1, dominant 7th on the 1, we have the 4, and then a color chord on the 4, so minor. Then, kind of like a turnaround, and it does it again. Show the world how to smile. I could be glad all of the while. It would turn my gray skies back to blue if I had you. I could leave my old days leave all my past, and I never mind. Da 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 da. If I had you. I could climb a snow-capped mountain and sail the mighty ocean wide. I could cross a burning desert if I had you by my side. There we go. I could be a king, dear, uncrowned, humble or poor, rich or renowned. There's nothing I wouldn't do if I had you. I could climb a snow-capped mountain and sail the mighty ocean wide. I could cross a burning desert if I had you by my side. And I could be a king, dear, golden crown, humble or poor, rich or renowned. There we go. 'Cause there's nothing I wouldn't do if I had you. Oh, we should do... A little If I Had You there. Almost forgot the bridge. All right. Alrighty, folks. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for the day here. Again, thanks for tuning in for another session here, our Monday Noodles and Hangout. We will, in fact, do it again next week, Monday, right here at 10 o'clock here on YouTube. I'll leave a little message up on Facebook with the link and whatnot, just as a little reminder, but you can definitely count on us being right here at 10 o'clock. And, of course, if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave them. Definitely helps me pick out some content as well, so I want to definitely talk about what you guys want to listen to. Alrighty, folks. On that note, be kind and be nice and be a bit compassionate. Empathetic. I like that one too. That one's really good. What else? You could also... Nah. Nah, but for real. Hope you folks have a lovely day. Have a lovely week. Take care. And remember...